Hello everyone, I'm gonna make you understand in an easier way the atrioventricular blocks. I'm Dr. Tobias Araújo with Hands on Heart. Let's move on. We have here the atrioventricular blocks, and we know that you have the first degree, second degree divided into Mobitz type 1 and Mobitz type 2, and we have the third degree AVB. But before we go into the AVBs, let's understand just a quick review of the electrical heart system. We know that the pacemaker in the heart is usually the sinus node. The sinus node is going to generate the energy. The energy is going to go to the AV node, pass through the bundle of his bundle brains, Purkinje fibers until arrive the ventricle mass and create a contraction. Okay, the AV node is located between the atria and the ventricles. AV node. What happened during the AV node block? This AV node is responsible to receive the energy from the atria, the electrical impulses, and bring this energy into the ventricles to create a heart contraction. But if the AV node is sick, if the AV node is working lazier, what's going to happen? The AV node is going to receive the energy and it's going to take time until the energy arrives the ventricle mass. And this space between the beginning of the P until the beginning of the QRS is going to get longer. What is this space? This space is named PR interval. P wave, QRS. From the beginning of P until the beginning of the QRS. What is the normal PR interval? Until 0.2 or 0.20 seconds, or 5 small boxes on an EKG. Okay? If the AV node is working properly, this interval is going to be until 0.2 seconds. But in case of AV node is a little sick, this time is going to be prolonged. And then the PR interval is going to be longer than 0.20 seconds. Case of the first degree AVB. Look, this PR interval is prolonged, but every PR interval has the same length, just prolonged. And important, first degree, every P has your own QRS. What means that the AV node is working every time, but just late. Second degree is when the AV node gets sicker, okay, compared to the first degree. And sometimes the AV node doesn't work. If the AV node doesn't work, we know that the P wave comes from the atria and the QRS comes from the ventricle. If the AV node doesn't work, you're going to see P wave, but you don't see QRS. Let's show you here. You have a P wave, but you don't have QRS. You have a dropped QRS. This is second degree, when there is at least once a dropped QRS, because at that time the AV node didn't work. Okay, this is second degree. But what about Mobitz type 1, Mobitz type 2? Let's move on. Mobitz type 1 is when the AV node and the electrical system is getting sicker and more until one time doesn't work. If the AV node is getting late and more, what's going to happen with the PR interval? Look, the PR interval is going to be prolonged, getting longer until AV node can't work. You're going to have a dropped QRS. After recovery, PQST with a shorter PR interval. Okay? When the AV node is working at the same pace, and one day or one time suddenly the AV node doesn't work. This is Mobitz type 2. Let me show you. AV node is working at the same pace, okay? The PR intervals are going to be the same. PR interval equals PR intervals. And suddenly you have a dropped QRS because at that time the AV node wasn't working. working, okay? After recovery, PR interval are gonna be always the same, and this can happen sometimes, depends on the case. But what is the difference between Mobitz 1 and Mobitz 2? Mobitz 1, the electrical system is getting progressively sicker. The PR interval is getting progressively longer. In the Mobitz type 2, the AV node in the electrical system is sick at the same pace always, and suddenly went to the hospital, was hospitalized, didn't work, okay? PR interval, didn't work. PR interval, didn't work. Good? What about the third degree? The third degree is when the AV node is dead. AV node in the electrical system is in the ventricle is not working anymore. What happened? What's happening? The atria are working at their pace, and the ventricles are working at their pace, but they don't communicate each other. Okay, P waves are coming from atria. QRS are coming from ventricles. But in case they don't communicate each other, because there is a complete and total blockage in the AV node and the electron tension, how are you going to see this on an EKG? Atria working at their pace. P wave, P wave, P wave. Look, the interval PP, distance between two P waves are the same because it's the way that the atria are working. What about the ventricles? The ventricle cells, they work in a different way, okay? They are laser compared to the ventricles. Then you're gonna see a pace different. QRST, 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 QRST. Okay, doesn't have any communication between atria and ventricles. The P waves are inside the T, inside the QRS, before the QRS, after the T. Okay, it's a mess. You don't have any organization between P's and QRS, but the PP intervals are gonna be the same. Of course, you're gonna check the P inside the QRS. How are you gonna see this? Once the P is inside the QRS is gonna get a little bigger. When the P is inside the T wave is gonna be a little bigger. Then you can identify, okay, there is a P inside the T, and the RR intervals, distance between the QRSs or R waves, the RR intervals are the same. This is the third degree, okay? I gave you a quick review of the atrioventricular blocks in a simple way. Thank you. See you.